Okay, so this video is going to cover general format for the weapons table, and we're going to create new weapons using two different methods. One method is creating a new weapon in a TBL file, and another method is creating a new weapon in a TBM file. Alright, so when you look at the weapons table that Volition made, and you look at the top here, you notice that there are colons in front of every line, which tells FSO, don't look at all of this. This is for humans to read. But what Freespace Open starts to pay attention to is this # primary weapons. And then Freespace Open says, okay, now that I see that, you're going to start listing me primary weapons, aren't you? And so you start, it looks for number symbol name, and then you name your first primary weapon. And then all of this defines the characteristics of that weapon you just named. And then it says, okay, great. And then it says name again. And then it will apply all of these characteristics to the name listed above until it sees name again. Name, characteristics, name, characteristics, name, characteristics, all the way until # end. And so here is your last primary weapon that you defined, the name, its characteristics. And then it says, okay, done listing primary weapons. And then it will expect this next line, which says you're going to start listing secondary weapons. Same story here, name, characteristics, all the way until the second end line. And so here's your last one, and then end. And then the weapons table goes on to you can list countermeasures, and then you could at the end here there's player weapon precedence. So what if you want to add a new weapon? Well, if you want to add a new weapon, I recommend that you take an existing weapon that has the closest characteristics to what you want to use and go on modifying that. You're just going to flat out save time doing that. So let's say I want to make the Piranha but upgraded. So I want to make the Piranha 2. So let's find the Piranha. And the Piranha's right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy actually this whole thing, and we're going to paste it at the bottom under secondary weapons just before end. So here I'm at, this is the last secondary weapon that was listed, and here is end. And so I'm going to paste right here. Okay, great. So now all I did was I listed a second Piranha, and that's probably going to throw an error. But what if I name this guy Piranha 2? Now it is a new weapon. It is a new weapon which happens to have the same characteristics of the original Piranha. So basically you can change these characteristics to what you want the Piranha 2 to be. So, in order to change the characteristics, I want to take a moment to understand a little bit about what makes the Piranha so special. The Piranha is a missile that you fire, and then you press the fire button a second time, and it explodes, and a bunch of baby bombs come out of it. Now, the reason why this weapon has these dramatic characteristics is because of this line right here. We call this the flags line. Now, the flags line is I'm in the weapons table wiki right now. The flags line is basically all of these, each of these words in quotation marks have a special characteristic, and so the more flags you add, the more of these characteristics you're going to add. And unlike the lines in the table, flags don't need to be named in order. if that makes sense. So I could have EMP behind flak. Okay, so I could have a flak EMP weapon. That actually sounds pretty interesting. So, okay, so there are special flags that the Piranha has, which is spawn cluster baby, which basically, where is spawn? So you look for spawn here in your flags. Oh, here it is, right at the top. So it asks for spawn, the name of the weapon you're spawning, and the how many of those you want to spawn. So the Piranha spawns cluster babies, and it spawns 15 of them. Now, one thing to note is that here's the cluster bomb baby right here, and it's a child weapon. So weapons that you spawn have to be child weapons. Alright, so we've got the Piranha 2. The Piranha 2 is more advanced than the Piranha, so how about instead of spawning 15 cluster babies, it actually spawns 30 of them. So, okay, here's our Piranha 2. So if you save this weapons table, you've actually created a new weapon using the first method, which is to create a new weapon in the weapons table. But with TBMs, there's a more eloquent way to do this. So instead of having it tacked onto this weapons table, we could put it in its own TBM. So let's actually do that. Now, whoops. So we go to our Freespace folder. We go to our mod, and we go to data tables. And now I want to create a TBM. So I've got this Cretheus here, which is a TBM file. And I recommend, instead of making your own TBMs, well, I shouldn't say I don't recommend it, but I am quite content with just copying a TBM and making it what I want it to be. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take our Cretheus guy here, and I'm going to copy and paste him. Okay, great. Now, I don't want a ships TBM, so I'm going to delete everything in here. But what I do want is I want a weapon TBM. So I'm going to add those 4 basic lines. Primary weapons. And keep in mind, tables, as picky as they are not case sensitive. So just keep that in mind. So it was these lines were capitalized, and I'm not capitalizing them, and it should work just fine. Alright, so now that I have the basics of our weapons TBM here, I'm going to I'm going to actually press Control X, and I am going to paste that Piranha 2 right in here under secondary weapons. And what the TBM will do is it will add this in addition to the weapons table that I have modified. That's what TBMs do, they add. Okay, great. So save this. I'm going to save it in RMod data tables, and I am going to have to give it a very specific name. Right now, FSO thinks that this is a ships TBM, but I actually want to make it a weapons TBM. So I add the suffix wep. That's the required thing. Now, this word before the hyphen, I can call whatever I want. So let's call this OMD for our mod. Okay. So I want to save this. Shit. It will only save as a text file. Shit. Okay. Never mind that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, and I am going to rename this the way I had it before, OMD web. And so we've got our TBM. Alright, so that's the wrong way to do it. Okay, so we've got our TBM. Now, that's all the time I have for this video. So I'll see you in the next video.